Hey everybody and welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
And I'm Joel.
Forgive my outward appearance. Some might say that based on the news we received over the last 24 hours, I'm sweating and I'm just like completely frothing at the mouth. The reality is it's like 85 degrees outside. There's like, I don't know, 80% humidity, and my mom decided that today was a good day to take the front door off her house, and I was like, what are you doing, Mom? So I had to go over there. I had to help her put the door back on. Then my dad showed up. Whole family hauser. I'm not going to drag you guys into it, but I will at least at the top of the show address, I am not... all right, I'm 50% a sweaty mess because of the Spider-Man thing, but the rest of it is actually the heat. You may hear an air conditioner. That's why. So if you're just tuning into the show because you just can't get enough self-flagellation over this poor Spider-Man situation, welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. It's a comic book and comic book adjacent topic show that we have here where we chat about those things for about an hour. We're going to talk about this Spider-Man Sony Disney thing, and we're going to try and be as diplomatic and as objective as possible before we then devolve into our own personal opinions. But
because someone has to online.
Getting more direct into it because we want to sift out like all the crap, because you're hearing quotes, you're hearing figures, you're hearing numbers, and I want to be able to attribute those quotes, those figures, those numbers to people, to corporations, to specific like accountable sources, as opposed to just being like, you know, somebody said that, you know, an intern got a sandwich. He heard that it's over. So, like, the Venom's going to go to the MCU. Like, we don't need any of that. So let's just try and focus on the facts. As my old college professor used to say, we're going to Joe Friday this bitch. Just the facts. So before we do that, I want to welcome you to the show. This show is supported by viewers like you. Of course, the ads help, but we also have a thing called Super Chats, where if you do want to have a question, a comment, or something else you want to mention in the show and you want to have it read organically into the show, use Super Chats to do so, and we will address hopefully every single one of you. So like this fine person, Adam Esmo, who says first, great contribution, but also you are first, so technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. So,
no one can take it away from you.
No one can take that away from you. You are first on this episode. So let's jump into it. I'm sourcing a couple of my like collective data from CNBC. Take that as you will. The article is below this video. You can check my sources and grab those right now. That was posted this morning, like late, like between 8 and 12 this morning, Eastern Standard Time. But basically, according to CNBC, let's talk about the original deal. The deal that set this whole thing up, right?
Yes.
That basically, Sony and Disney had a send-receive agreement, a contract with each other, in which Sony would allow Marvel's creative team to integrate Spider-Man into its cinematic universe, and Sony would put up 100%... I'm sorry, and Disney would put up 100% of the production cost.
Yes, which a lot of people don't seem to understand that part.
Right. So Sony allows Disney to use Spider-Man's character and pay 100% of the movie.
Yep.
In exchange, Disney will receive 5% of, and this is something I haven't heard a lot of, the quote first dollar gross, which is to mean 5% of the ticket sales on the first day of release.
Yes.
Not opening weekend, first day. By the way, I'm only sifting out and addressing the facts and the information. I'm not getting into like how I feel about it right now, and I don't want to hear that like I'm being a shill because I'm quoting actual facts. Here's the deal: 5% of the first day ticket sales, and then Disney as a result retained the merchandising rights for the character,
which they always had and never lost when they sold the rights to Spider-Man originally.
I had always heard, and I didn't have anything to back it up, but I always heard that Sony had a percentage and they traded in 100% merchandising for total gross. Again, I don't have that link, so I'm not going to address it.
Right.
But to put it into figurative terms, Spider-Man Homecoming had a domestic $117 million opening weekend, roughly about $39 million the first day, which means, based on first ticket for 5% dollar grosses, Disney made approximately $2 million off of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Which ain't much when you compare it to the other movies. It was also like the biggest opening Sony had, like, was it ever. Or just in years?
Far From Home had a $185 million opening weekend, which accounts to about, because it was a 3-day opening weekend, it accounts to about $61 million for the first day, which, if you translate that into Disney bucks, is about Disney made off of Sony's highest grossing film of all time, $3.25 or $3.25 million. A fraction of the budget that the movie cost.
Yeah.
That being said, this means that the initial deal that Disney made, roughly $5.25 million on 2 movies, that they 100% financed. That said, they also own 100% of the merchandising rights of the character, which, according to Hollywood Reporter in 2014, earns approximately $1.3 billion with a B dollars a year.
As Krusty the Clown said, merchandising, that's the sweetest plum.
That's the sweetest plum. Disney earned $1.3 billion off of Spider-Man alone 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, could that have gone up? Probably. Most corporations think about only satisfying their investors' bottom dollar and always trying to increase or duplicate or triplicate their profits, which of course is unsustainable, and that's why corporations are completely insane. But let's get into that another time. So basically, Sony is basically getting the $1 billion gross from the movie, and Disney earns probably around the same, if not a little more, proportionately through merchandising.
Because, you know, T-shirts and toys and what have you will always cost more than a movie ticket.
Exactly, and I've heard people banding around like they get the comic money. They don't even think about it. They don't even care.
That's a teardrop in the ocean.
What we're really talking about here is backpacks, action figures, dolls, sleepwear, costumes, like children's outfits, that kind of merchandising, which, by the way, Disney was already kind of using and making already. So it wasn't like Sony gave up the ability for Disney to make money off of Spider-Man. It was more that, like, proportionately speaking, Disney makes about $1.5 billion a year off of Spider-Man merchandising rights, and Sony was happy to now suddenly start making about $1 billion per Spider-Man movie for free.
Yes, without having to really do anything but just sign the paperwork and let them use their shiny toy, which you know, we'll talk about opinion stuff later. But
exactly,
yes,
I don't want to get into that just yet. I just want to talk about what happened, what is reality, where we are.
Right. But yeah, that's it as it stands right now.
Exactly. So, according to Deadline yesterday, Deadline was the article that I saw that broke the story. Disney proposed a 50-50 co-financing deal. This means Disney and Sony would pay half the production cost of the movie and then split the profits. Part of the problem with speculating on this kind of thing is because we haven't heard anything from either source. We just heard insiders and sources that say that was the proposed deal.
Yeah, I forget if it was the same article, too, that said Sony's counteroffer, the only counteroffer that I've heard of in this whole web, no pun intended, was Sony saying, it's like, well, what if we just keep the deal as it is right now with, you know, us keeping 95%, you doing 5%, and doing whatever moving forward into the future.
Exactly. It could be that Disney may have offered something else, maybe a percentage of the merchandising rights, but my guess is they probably did not.
No, which again, you know, that's business. That's hardball. You always want to start with your biggest one there. Now, where does Tom Holland fall in all of this? He's still under contract for at least 2 more. Yes, was my understanding.
Okay, so with Tom Holland, we haven't had any direct word from Holland, but we do have. We knew 2 things. One, Holland is under contract for 2 movies, which, by the way, means absolutely dick. Andrew Garfield's under contract for one other Spider-Man movie. He pissed off the head of Sony. Some would say deliberately. And now, by the way, not Sony Pictures, Sony the corporation.
Yes.
And so he was unceremoniously terminated from the project, and a reboot was hastily rushed into Marvel's receptive hands.
But Ben Affleck was under contract, too, and we saw what happened there.
Exactly. But Tom Holland is technically under contract for 2 more Spider-Man movies. Today, within a couple of hours, Tom Holland reportedly unfollowed Sony on Instagram.
Ooh.
That's that. And by the way, we're just Joe Fridaying this, just the facts.
In the modern digital age, that's sending a strong message, especially for a young person like Holland.
I know that. Yeah, that is a 19-year-old's message. I don't know how old he is. Probably in his 20s, but you know. Here is the official word we've heard from one of the 2 companies. This is the official word. Quote: much of today's news about Spider-Man has been mischaracterized, and it has mischaracterized recent discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We are disappointed, but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer on our next live-action Spider-Man film. We hope this might change in the future, but understand that that the many new responsibilities that Disney has given him, including all their newly added Marvel properties, do not allow for him to work on IP they do not own. Kevin is terrific, and we are grateful for his help and guidance and appreciate the path he has helped put us on, which we will continue.
Lot of double speak there. Sony also put this up on Twitter at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what that is in LA time, but that seems very weird to come out with a statement at that time.
It feels like a reaction. If you were to interpret it as some might have already, it reads passive aggressive, and it does foist a lot of, like, I don't know, shade on Feige, while like you said, doublespeak. They said, you know, good for him, he's terrific, and we're grateful for his help. They also say that he has many new responsibilities, and he may not even be up to the task of working on this character based on how much work he has.
Even though he's overseen like 3 phases worth of Marvel projects in all of their forms. But no, he's not up for this, though.
Right. Now, that being said, that's conjecture. It's simply, this is the context, but it is... And here's the thing. So these are all the things we know. These are the facts. The facts that we know. Sony has a statement that says Kevin Feige is not producing the next Spider-Man movie. There is going to be another Spider-Man movie coming up soon. Due to Kevin Feige's lack of involvement, we can infer a lot of things. But right now, all we know officially and formally from any of these companies, is Feige is not going to be producing the next Spider-Man movie. That being said, probably means Spider-Man's not in the MCU anymore.
Because why would you get rid of Feige?
Right, especially because, and this is back to conjecture, we have heard a number of reports over the last about 12 hours that say that Feige apparently had been ghost producing a couple of other Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man adjacent projects at Sony.
And interesting. These new Lord and Miller projects, probably.
Yes, that maybe Spider-Verse had some involvement with Feige, and that apparently maybe Feige was upset that he didn't get producer credit on some of these movies.
Ooh, so again, the perfect Hollywood storm of bruised egos and power players and greed and everything else.
Right. Now, again, not trying to paint any company in a bad light. We will be doing that shortly, but before we do that, I want to say Sony made the first move publicly, and Tom Holland made a move publicly as well, regardless of how silly or contrived or childish it might have been. And that a lot of reputable news sources are reporting the same source that are saying that Disney suggested a 50-50 split and a 50-50 take.
Right.
Again, no substantiated source, no person has said that, just sources and insiders and whatnot. That's all we know.
Yeah, that's all we know right now. It's still a very fresh news story. Now, there was another little thing here, and again, this may very well have also been conjectured. This could have just happened and been unrelated. There was talk, too, that apparently during all of this, during like the whole 12-hour Twitter storm and everything, Sony's stock actually took a pretty major hit. I think it's back up now, but I think there was a moment there where it actually took a bit of a tumble. Now, I will admit, I don't understand anything about the stock market.
Yes. I saw that number. I wouldn't have sold my Sony stock based on that number. It wasn't a plummet so much as it was a dip. It was an immediate dip, and it was an immediate reaction, and the market does that anytime anything happens. If the government decided, the U.S. government, since that's where I am, decided to like invade a country, the stock market would take a hit. If the government decided to start a trade war, the stock market might change and fluctuate. Like any time any major mover and shaker within the industry makes a big change, the market reacts, and usually unfavorably.
Naturally.
So with that respect, I believe Sony took a dip of like 0.5% or something like that. It was very negligible, and like you said, I think it recouped its loss right away.
It is. It's back up this morning. I checked it before we started.
Yeah, but that was...
I did a thing.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, no, exactly. But it's a reaction because they did it like an hour and a half before the closing bell. So, you know, there was a reaction. And I'm glad there was a reaction because that's the most influence that studios can react to. Yeah. Because here's the thing, regardless of how much everyone enjoyed or didn't enjoy Spider-Man in the MCU, the companies don't care as long as it makes the money.
Absolutely.
I made a comment yesterday in which I had heard, and we again, unsubstantiated, I never heard an official source, but I remember hearing a rumor, and it was circulating everywhere, and every popular YouTube channel and blogger jumped on it, that if Far From Home doesn't make $1 billion, Spider-Man is out of the MCU.
Right.
Right? Remember, I remember hearing about that.
I remember hearing that also.
oddly enough, now that it has made $1 billion, he is also out of the MCU. Feels like maybe he was always going to leave the MCU. Feels like maybe that was always a plan. Maybe the reason why Spider-Man wasn't mentioned during the Comic-Con announcement was because Feige already knew this was going to happen. That being said, okay, so let's look at this from a perspective of money and companies.
Right.
It's quick. It's one would be quick to judge Sony,
Yes.
based on its previous history, based on its
No doubt.
greed, based on its desperation to create a franchise, based on its desire to make a Morbius movie starring Jared Leto.
Its short-sightedness and creative bankruptedness. I know a lot of people were circulating the clip today of Andrew Garfield talking about the bad time he had on the Spider-Man movies
Absolutely.
and working for Sony.
It's a rough time, notwithstanding Avi Arad and his influence.
Pascal, even, who had her own major controversy scandal before any of this happened.
Oh.
People forgot that Disney did a nice job, shining that up.
Oh, and Tom Rothman having like torched the Fox X-Men brand and then made a lateral move over to Sony, and now he's in charge. Oddly enough, I'd heard that apparently Pascal might have been more of a champion of the MCU Spider-Man than Rothman, who is more than happy and more than comfortable dealing with his own pocket universe, because that's what he's been dealing with in comic book cinema forever. He's only had the X-Men franchise, which I think has had more losses than hits.
Yeah, he did Jumanji too, didn't he?
He did Jumanji, which did well.
Yes.
But that's to demonize Sony, and I don't want to do that right off the bat, because this is the same problem that I've had when Marvel failed to connect its connected universe over at Netflix.
Right,
And
there was a lot of pettiness going on there too.
The fact that Disney can't keep its own television and movie houses in order, when it could, if it's buying Fox, could pay the Netflix contract fee and then immediately fast track a Charlie Cox Daredevil movie or any other New Avengers or Avengers adjacent Defenders character movie. Frustrating. So listen, Disney is absolutely culpable in terms of being uncharacteristically cheap. So here's the deal. Sony has one cash cow, as proven by the Men in Black failure.
Yep.
And the moderate success, some would say pretty substantial success, of Venom.
Way more successful than they thought it would be, yeah.
Absolutely.
And even, let's throw Spider-Verse in there too. Might not have made as much money as the other ones, but it won an award, though. That's pretty good, yeah.
And it was damn good, critically acclaimed.
Yes, which they're not getting much critical acclaim, so, they could use some of that.
Absolutely. So, one cannot necessarily blame Sony for wanting to hang on to the only thing that makes them any money.
The only stick they have to shake. And again, too, I've even made the argument there. It's like, yeah, Venom and Spider-Verse. You guys wouldn't have made that if you could still have made live-action Spider-Man movies, though.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, I remember Sony was in a dire straits back during the Emoji Movie period.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I remember rumors circulating that Sony was up for, that the people at Sony, top brass, not Sony Pictures, again, Sony Corporation, were considering maybe even closing that studio. That's like how dire it was and felt over at Sony.
And Sony, too, has its own internal problems, too, because they have the American branch who we're mostly dealing with here, but then we have the bosses over in Japan who make the actual real decisions.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of go-between.
Absolutely. So, with Sony, I can imagine them feeling rather desperate and rather put over a barrel by Disney coming to the table and being like, hey, I know we still have, 2 more movies to make or whatever, but, what if we were to take more money? And I could see Sony, especially because Sony does what Sony does, immediately reacting in kind of a defensive and public reaction.
Hey, now, just because you do all the work doesn't mean you should get half the money.
Right, well, and also, this is the only thing that has succeeded for us, and it hasn't even been really, a full year, and
true.
now you want to take more?
Yeah.
You just bought Fox. You don't need this too. You don't need extra money off of Spider-Man. You're going to make X-Men. It's going to be huge. We already have a good thing going.
Ha ha, feed the beast. Ha ha.
Now, I want to get into more of that in a minute, but before we do, there's a lot of people that had a lot of questions and comments, and I want to get into those really quick. So Adam Asimov says, well, my one more day theory is done for. Oh, I guess. Rusky910 says, Disney is in the wrong. They are asking too much. That aside, Marvel got screwed. Sony only has those rights because they practically stole them from a bankrupt Marvel, and the rights should go back to them.
There's no heroes in this situation. That's why when I see people picking their camps and, waving the flags, it's like, guys, no one's the good guy here.
Right. And especially because, and that's the other thing I wanted to get into. This is all a manipulation game that is used to put pressure on studios, and it's their negotiation tactics.
Oh, no doubt. I'm almost certain that the only reason we heard about this is because someone from some camp let it out to be like, all right, then you don't want to do this? Well, let's let the fans decide what they want. Oh, what's that? We're going to boycott everything you do moving forward. Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I think most of these news sites are happy to post this kind of data without any actual source, because it's it's probably an official word. It's just no one's taking the credit for it.
What was the thing I said there? It's like, look, do you want half of something that has been proven to be great and proven to make money, or do you want all of something unproven that might crash and burn?
Well, especially, Sony isn't exactly the most creative group of people.
You killed it twice before.
Yeah. But that being said, the whole thing could also be a horseshit smokescreen that is used entirely to manipulate the other parties. The thing that really gave me pause was, okay, so and by the way, it's a dick move, it's a power move.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to the table, I take 5%. I'm thinking about increasing the percentage by 45.
It's a gangster move, is what it is. It'd be a shame if something happened to you.
It's a straight up gangster move. It's the kind of move that a powerhouse normally plays.
Yep.
But the fact is, even on a microcosm level, if you're haggling, you go lower than what you want to pay or higher than you want to get because there's going to be some wiggle room. What I'm sure Disney did not count on, which is, by the way, I think in Sony's prerogative, was being like, nothing.
Yeah.
No counter.
You're trying to haggle with a crazy person.
That's exactly right. No, you don't understand. You're trying to negotiate hospital bills with a terminal patient here.
Yeah, you can't get blood from a stone. You want to get nuts? Breaks a bottle. Let's get nuts.
Get nuts. Let's tweet about it right now and see what happens. Oh, no one's happy.
Yeah, geez. And in that desperation, they turned to a man who they didn't quite understand.
Josh Bowman says, don't worry, Minnesota's weather's crappy too. Damn it, Adam, stop beating everyone. How big of an influence do you think this will have on the MCU? Honestly, I think it will have virtually no influence on the MCU.
Same,
outside of my involvement and interest in it.
Really?
My interest in the MCU has begun and ended with, can Spider-Man be in this?
Really? Interesting.
It has always been that way. It has never not been that way.
Huh.
That being said, I have wholly and enthusiastically enjoyed, Iron Man, I think, is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I love the interconnected universe. I love all of the stuff. But I've always been watching it with that hope and caveat of Spider-Man being in it. And now that he's not, I have virtually... And now that he's not, and the next big thing is Eternals, I couldn't be less excited.
Oh, that's a shame.
Straight up not interested. And while I also have misgivings and concerns about major corporations owning everything, blah, 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 I also don't understand why major companies with superpower don't use it to get things that they want. So it's
weird.
I don't understand why Disney would make that move and seem and be so greedy when they don't need to be and when there's absolutely no precedent for it.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Again, the perfect confluence of ego and greed and
really
short-sightedness all coming together. This could not be more of a Hollywood story,
Absolutely.
is what this is.
Oh no, Yeah, no, it'll be an amazing article, story, Reddit post one day. Like the whole, all the details. No hack to give us real, concrete evidence.
No, that's a
By the way,
shame.
the only reason why we even know how the Sony thing worked out with Marvel in the first place.
Exactly. I think people truly forget that in what dire straits Sony was. Amazing Spider-Man killed the franchise for a second time. Amy Pascal and a bunch of their CEOs. Huge racist email scandal. They were looking terrible. They needed someone to come and save them in this situation. And indeed, ho, here comes the mouse. Get on my boat full of money.
Yeah, I mean... what was it? CanSav Production says, this is a huge loss on both studios' part. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined, just as everyone was here.
Solid.
I hear you, man. J. Joseph Frazier, if Marvel Sony don't renegotiate and D23 doesn't reveal anything spectacular, this may be my stop to get off the MCU train. Not enough is holding my attention. Frazier, you and I are in the same boat, man. D23, they got it. D23 has to be, here's the entire cast of Fantastic Four. Like, they need to really, really, blow some skirts up with some steam here, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, it ain't gonna happen.
See, that's so interesting because in my mind, I'm like, well, will Spider-Man's impact be on the MCU? Honestly, kind of negligible because we've had an MCU without Spider-Man. Yeah, it will be weird for a little bit, but I think we can survive without Spider-Man. Maybe Ant-Man will show up in more things now, or maybe Shang-Chi will all fall in love with him because the actor is so charming.
I mean, listen, I have nothing but hope for Shang-Chi. I want Shang-Chi to succeed. We talked about Shang-Chi. It needs to be a hardcore, real, like practical effects, wire work, kung fu flick. But like, for me and my interest in the MCU, it begins and ends with Spider-Man's involvement. But that's what's funny about it is that Spider-Man, the MCU can survive without him. But I don't know if this Spider-Man can actually divorce himself from the MCU at this point without it feeling really weird and hollow.
Especially after the cliffhanger from the last one to be like, okay, so we're not going to mention Happy Hogan or Iron Man or the Snap or anything else ever again because we literally can't.
Nope. Literally, the next one is going to be, he's still upset, but this time it's about his Uncle Ben and also Venom.
Yes, and also, which is going to seem so fucking weird now because we had a Spider-Man-less Venom origin movie, but Eddie Brock hates this teenager who's never worked in the news industry before.
Now, that being said, they could. There are a lot of creative people over there. There are a lot of uncreative people over there. But there's a lot of creative people out there who could come up with some reason. Listen, if you read Spider-Man comics, you know that like there's a million reasons why Spider-Man should just call the Avengers when Venom's like crushing his skull, but he doesn't. Mm-hmm. So you could still make Marvel-less Spider-Man movies. Mm-hmm. There's no argument against that being a thing. There's even no argument against there being good Marvel-less Spider-Man movies. Arguably, everyone says Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie ever made. And there's nothing but Spider-People and no Marvel stuff.
It's true.
So it can be done. Hell, before that, Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero movies ever made, according to every list out there. You could argue... Again, Marvelous, no other characters, no other ancillary characters. So like, there's room. The question The question is, now that I know.
Exactly. And will the fans accept that now? Can they walk backwards in this story? Can you go from an all-you-can-eat buffet to it's like, okay, now the value menu?
Well, and here's the thing. It's not even about can they do it, but should you? Like, we're in a position where we were more or less promised / sold this. I'm going to see these Spider-Man movies on the premise of this. Yes, Watts is a good director, but yes, Feige is also an excellent producer and steered those movies in those directions, creatively speaking. I want those movies. I don't want to be in this position where I have to then like pick, choose, and guess. And honestly, and because we're dealing in the billions of dollars here.
Oh yeah.
We all know, because you're also doing this tactic of airing your dirty laundry in public, we know it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be shitty. And we don't have to have a world where we have to, like, just get over it and get used to it. Like, you could just pay a little more and fix it.
But we won't, because our pride is tied up in this now. And that's what it is.
If it was just profits, they just pay it. But it's not. It's about egos and pride.
Which ruin everything at the end of the day.
I know. Nate Dogg helping us out. Z-Berm Guys, this is a Sony film company known for making bad decisions. They canceled the Genndy Tartakovsky Popeye movie for the Emoji movie.
I know.
That being said, that Emoji movie made money.
I know it did.
I would
That's the
never
real
have
shit.
seen a Popeye movie. I didn't see the Emoji movie either, but I also wouldn't have seen Popeye.
I just seen it because I like Tartakovsky.
I like Tartakovsky too, but like Popeye? Price 8040. This could be fixed in continuity. Spoilers for Far From Home, but there could be an adaptation of Back in Black and Spider-Man No More, where Aunt May's almost assassinated and Peter stops being Spider-Man. Yeah, you could do that. That's one.
Yeah.
There's any myriad of reasons that you could use or argue. Hell, Spider-Man's persona non grata. Nobody wants to talk about him. That's fine.
True. You know? Or my Twitter joke I had that, and they say Peter Parker never came back from his European vacation.
Right? Hell, they just make a Miles movie. Screw it.
What are the rules around Miles? Because I assumed it was Spider-Man and everything Spider-Man adjacent.
My assumption is it's all Spider-Man. I think there's a couple of like caveats, like Aranya.
Right. Gwenpool, by which I mean Gwendolyn Poole, Poole.
Right. Not Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
W. Vang 0013. The next Spider-Man movie isn't in Phase 4, so they'll have time to figure it out. Do you guys think they'll start to marginalize him at Marvel like with toys and comics? That was one immediate concern I had, but
right.
It's one that was assuaged when I saw Donny Cates tweet. He was like, "Nah." And,
yeah, nah, dog.
He makes a compelling argument because here's the thing: Spider-Man is and always has been the Mickey Mouse of Marvel. He's the mascot. He's the face of the company, and he always skirted that.
He's always evergreen. But now that being said, for the 5 other Spider-Man books that are going on right now,
which, if you're a person who doesn't like too much spider characters and think it kind of dilutes the brand by having 18 spider people running around at the same time, not so bad. But I doubt. It really depends on what Perlmutter's reaction is going to be and whether that's like a thing.
Because, you know, he's not known to be reactionary and spiteful or anything.
Right, even if they're in the wrong.
Yeah.
The Iceman says, hey, interesting situation. This feels like James Gunn all over again. Like this is Alan Horn making another dumb decision. Feels like Disney sabotaged this, corporate effing with Marvel's creative. I mean,
it's a little different.
I think that Spider-Man has no role in any of the phases because he is not owned wholesale by the company and therefore can't actually be like a linchpin character.
It's why he doesn't have as many hooks in stuff as, say, like Captain America or everyone else did.
Like, it's why he plays such an active role in Tony Stark's life, but also isn't in any of the key scenes that define the character.
Exactly.
And while, like, Peter Parker doesn't, you know, hold the gauntlet for too long and whatnot. Like, it's a whole thing. So I don't know if it's creative or if it's more just like the creative people are just told don't use any Spider-Man stuff. We'll let you know when you can use Spider-Man stuff. Trenton Brown says the only way I'll somewhat be okay with Sony having full control is if they leave everything to Lord and Miller.
Which sounds to be what they're going to do with it anyway, because Spider-Verse did so great, and now they're putting them in charge of literally their entire Spider-Man arm.
I think that's a horrible idea because I don't agree that Sony will believe in them enough to do that.
No, because they're like actual artists with actual ideas that are clever.
Well, and they're not executives at the company. They don't own any percentage of the character. Avi Arad, however, could literally kick in the door at Lord and Miller and go like, oh, there's not enough Venom in this movie, and oh, there's not enough Sinister Six stuff going on. Like,
I need to make toys. I am a toy man.
He is a toy man, by the way. He and Perlmutter worked at Toy Biz when Toy Biz bought Marvel and then used that purchase to become executives within the company.
Crazy.
That's how bad off Marvel was. Cash Money in the Bank, thank you very much, man.
Love the name.
Can't fathom why these companies don't see this as a lose-lose. They should both be ready to make concessions. Too much focus on direct dollars and not enough on dividends paid by cross-marketing, shared fandom, etc. You said it, man. You said it.
It's the literal golden goose situation. It's like, well, we could cut the goose's throat, or we could both just, be happy making the money we're going to make forever now, or ruin it for ourselves.
Do you like golden omelets that keep your tummy filled all day, or do you want to have goose one night?
Exactly.
It's a terrible idea. I hear what you're saying, and I completely agree. Nanchikit Naik says, I apologize, I butchered your name. I have never wanted any company to fail as much as the nostalgia milking monopoly that is Disney. Kate's tweets, if you want to see Spider-Man with the rest of Marvel, there is still, the comics. There's definitely the comics. It's going to be the purest example of Spider-Man you're going to see.
Yep.
And so you're good. Like, the reality is, like, if you love Spider-Man, you're good.
I do.
And you don't, like, I never saw the Venom movie. I've
didn't miss anything.
Right. I've seen enough scenes because I was like, people are like, you gotta watch this. Like, I saw the lobster eating scene. I saw the make out with the symbiote girlfriend scene. Like, I saw the end of the movie. I've seen enough of the movie to basically say I've seen the movie. I saw the riot fight. Like, I've seen enough to be like, no, this is not a movie for me. It's enough. It's a movie for people. People saw it. People like it. I get it.
See, I don't even think that. I thought it was barely a movie. I thought it was a connection of scenes. You might have watched it in the best way ever, actually, cut up into scenes.
Yeah, I've only seen, like, key scenes that are fun. I didn't get to see any of the scenes where, Eddie Brock's like, oh, jeez, oh, my God. Like, I didn't see any of that. So
I'm a New Yorker.
I'm doing a voice like I do every time. But, yeah, I didn't need to see Venom. And I don't need to see Sony Spider-Man movies. I don't need to see MCU movies that I don't have interest in.
It's true. And you know what? You're not alone. No one felt they needed to see Dark Phoenix or New Mutants because they knew it wasn't connected to anything and it wasn't going to go anywhere. I wonder, will this be the fate of Spider-Man now? Now that people are kind of wised up a little bit?
Yeah, now that they're meta-watching?
Yeah.
Like, could it be that the failure of the Netflix Marvel shows was more because people started to catch wise to the fact that they weren't connected in any way and that they were never going to be?
I think that had a lot to do with it.
That had a lot to do with why I didn't see the third season of any of them.
Same here.
Except for Daredevil. I saw Daredevil because I just love Daredevil.
Because we didn't know it was done yet when we were watching Daredevil.
Daredevil, I was just like, this is just so good.
It is. I didn't bother to watch any of the last seasons of any of the other ones. Because why should I? I have enough entertainment jockeying for my time. I don't need to see something that I know isn't going to go anywhere.
Not to mention the stuff we're just making ourselves. Two mics, one take. Can you see a situation where Sony offers Disney Venom and other Sony characters for more cut of the profits or creative input? Love the show. Take care. Thank you very much, man. I think that the plan, and this is, again, conjecture, so please don't quote me. I don't mean to, cover my ass, but I do want to be clear because I care about the facts.
Absolutely.
I heard that the offer from Sony was, let's work on weaving everything together.
Right.
Which up to and especially Venom.
Right. Let us play in your sandbox. How about that? Can we get a little FaceTime here in this, biggest media franchise in the universe?
Right. And you know what? Like, fine. Again, if the Clintars or whatever you want to call them were in Guardians, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be fun. I'd be fine with that. But yeah,
but I can also see Disney's reticence to be like, no, you are the smelly kid in class.
Well, here's the thing with Disney and how they're boneheads. I was reading an article, I think a week or two ago, in which executives are still concerned / don't understand what to do with Deadpool.
Oh, yeah, I read that too.
And I'm like, are you stupid? Do you know anything?
They were two massive hits. Don't change anything.
They're like, how do we... Well, what if... Well, but I want to put Deadpool in the Avengers movies and stuff, but he'll say the F word. And it's like, but people want to see the F word movies. What do we do? Here's what you do. You make R-rated Deadpool movies, and you make Deadpool not R-rated in the Avengers movies.
Yeah. And then you make a meta joke about it.
Hell, you bleep him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is it jarring? Sure. Is it funny? If you don't overdo it, yeah. Like, that's what they do in the Avengers comics.
Absolutely.
Like, give me a break here.
But have a big explosion drown him out, or the honk of a horn drown him out when he says something naughty.
Or just have, Falcon Cap call him, say language and hit him with the shield. Whatever you want to do. But be creative. All it takes is being creative, which apparently some of these people are completely incapable of doing. Too bad they're dealing in the billions of dollars in a creative field. Iceman says, read report. Sony did counter offer 70-30. Marvel had zero production costs. Sony paid cost. Disney wanted 50% of all Spidey properties, not just the MCU. Okay, I did read the report, and it didn't say anything about all properties, but, drop me a link, and I'll take a look at it. In the meantime, yes, the Sony 70-30 article was... another unsubstantiated report that was an addendum to the Deadline article, which was not in the CNBC article, which is the one that I'm quoting. So thank you very much for your $5. Rescue 910 says, Bright side, now with Sony back in charge, we can now see Uncle Ben die for a third time.
You know they're gonna do that too.
Honestly, it's just like we don't need any of that. Like, give me a break.
Again,
I hear what you said. Like, it's funny. Like, I know it's a joke.
In the darkest, far future, if Holland's just like, I don't want to do this now, I would like to buy myself out of my contract. Yep. Does that mean we're going to be staring down, the fourth Spider-Man in under a decade?
Yes, absolutely. Or God. More likely, because of the success of Spider-Verse, Sony will do Miles. They'll just do Miles. That would be the smartest move.
Yeah.
Fair enough. By the way, Iceman, thank you very much. What was it? Tevia says, Sony and Disney screw us fans over by taking Spider-Man away. Yeah. That's the thing, is that the only people who are hurt by this deal, because everyone's making off like bandits. Everybody's making money. Everybody's doing okay. The only people who don't get what they want is the fans.
I know. And in a dystopian cyberpunk future where corporations run everything, can I at least see the movies I want to see, damn it?
Right. Can I at least see the movies that you kind of like indicated or promised you were going to give me in the first place?
Yeah.
By the way, they owe me nothing. Promising
Absolutely.
a movie is not like it's more like, you go out to dinner and your parents offer to get you ice cream afterwards, but then it turns out like it's kind of like too late for ice cream, so you don't get ice cream. You're still disappointed, even though you understand rationally that you're not owed ice cream.
There's way too much entitlement in geek spaces these days anyway. So like, look, we want to say we are not those people.
Exactly.
We understand.
Exactly. And I don't want to like deny anyone the kind of movies they want to see.
Oh yeah, and please be upset if you're upset.
And part of the reason why I was kind of like fine with the Sony deal was, with the success of Spider-Verse, like, oh look, the vocal minority of people who want to see an MCU-less Spider-Man have a whole universe that's well made, that's great and fun to watch, all to themselves. So it allows us all to have what we want. You see, it's just because there are a lot of people who like the MCU movie, just because I like MCU Spider-Man doesn't mean that you don't get your own Spider-Man or your own 16 Spider-Man.
I was going to mention the game too, but then I'm like, no wait, there's a ton of MCU stuff in the game.
Oh, and it's all gone because Sony literally bought that company the day they made the announcement.
They sure did, which that should have let us know, right?
Yeah. No MCU stuff in that game. I guarantee that sequel is done.
Yep.
Like, that sequel will be all Spider-Man, and for no reason.
Hey, what happened to the Avengers, Peter? They died in a house fire.
They didn't exist. They never existed. Who? What? What are you talking about? What Avengers?
You mean that TV show from the 60s, right? The British one?
Exactly. Yeah. Master Rance? Sorry. I know Disney seems greedy, but the original Sony deal seems more like a test trial than the 50-50 deal was something that Sony knew was coming. I think that's probably accurate. I wouldn't argue with you about that. I'd say, like, yeah. I mean, like, a 5% of the gross, a 5% of the initial ticket sales of the first day feels like a water testing deal.
Totally.
They had to have known this was coming. I feel like that's probably why they were prepared and why they fast-tracked that Spider-Verse movie, why they were quick to make that Venom movie, why Morbius is in production right now. They were like, we gotta start doing this shit so that when the hammer drops, we can tell them F you and leave.
And I mean, I guess looking at the glass half full here, I mean, be happy you got two pretty damn good Spider-Man movies and a bunch of cool cameos in the Avengers movies and anything else, and before it was all said and done.
Right? I agree. Mr. Roboto, they can bring in Spider-Woman from ForceWorks now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The one that they still kind of own.
Yeah, that's right. Julia Carpenter. Yeah. Good costume. Oh, it looks too much like Venom, though.
But do they care? I mean, we're in total spite mode right now.
That's true. Trenton Brown, now that you mention it, Sal, I always thought that if Spidey was ever out of the MCU, they could always bring in Aranya for their Spider-themed hero needs. Agreed. Yeah. She could be Spider-Girl. I think that's the idea. I think that Sony has Aranya, or maybe she has to be Aranya and she can't be Spider-Girl. Either way. Aranya, I'd take Aranya. I mean, like, my Spider-Man is Peter Parker. I would like to see Peter Parker interact with this Marvel Universe. That's my So it's not about a character that sticks to walls. Like, it's not for me. It's not about it's not about the powers. It's about that character being
the
in
person
that world.
in the costume.
But yeah, Marvel could do that. But I don't think Marvel's hurting for characters with powers.
No.
So they don't need. They at this point, I wouldn't push it. I would just be like, all right, well, I guess we'll just put all our energy into X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
TB says it could be the perfect time for DC to introduce Blue Beetle or Sideways as a teenage character to the big screen, or maybe not. Lol. I mean, really, like, DC has their own troubles.
Go to Warner Brothers right now and say Jaime Reyes. And like, who's that? Is that the kid who gets us lunch?
Seriously though, like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Blue Beetle showed up in that Titan show.
Oh yeah, that's coming out very soon, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like they're rushing through production on that. They were filming here in Toronto like only a couple weeks ago, and it's going to be on like next month.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
they're
have that
really.
app. I gotta watch it. I've never watched it.
It's not good. I watched episode 1 and I was done.
It's not good. I watched most of Doom Patrol and all of Swamp Thing.
Doom Patrol is so good. Swamp Thing, I watched episode 1 of it, got canceled. I'm like, I'll finish this when it's all done.
It's all great except for the last episode.
Naturally, because they already said it's like, and here's where we ran out of money.
It was just wrecked. You could just see. It was like it was like an animation joke where it's like they didn't finish drawing the rest of the scene. Jay Frazier says, I'll only take another Uncle Ben if they make it meta and cast Joe Pesci. Making a nice My Cousin Vinny reference. I like that idea.
That's pretty good.
Doom 2814 says, with Peter Parker out of the way, it frees up Stark Industries to be seized by Trask and have the Sentinels be based on the Iron Man suit. All right. I don't see. It doesn't really. You don't need a Peter Parker for that. You can just do that anyway. I don't think they're going to do that. But Sentinels, man. Sentinels should be cool and should look cool. I don't think you need to tie them into to Iron Man to make them work.
No. Plus, isn't that a little derivative of the whole Ultron suits?
Yeah. Demomo helping us out in a big bad way. Thank you very much, Demomo. No comment? Well, thank you very much anyway. Appreciate it, man.
Oh.
If you have one, drop it in the chat and I'll talk to you. Honestly, like I said, like my big thing was this kills my enthusiasm for the MCU pretty much wholesale.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. I like the MCU and I appreciate it, but like I've always been watching it with the hope and the eye towards it being Spider-Man connected, and without him, like the wind is out of my sails. Now that being said, of course, the other thing that I have to say is we don't know.
No, it's true.
We know that Sony threw the first punch in terms of making a public statement about the situation and making it rather declarative. Kevin Feige will not be producing the next Spider-Man movie, which will still come out.
Yes, one way or another.
So that's that. That being said, and because we're dealing with egos, producers' credits, and other problems, I guarantee you that Disney probably will almost certainly not want to eat crow or concede. That Disney could easily say, let's go with the original deal, or let's make the deal a little sweeter for you. We're going to give you 5% of first day sales on Spider-Man merchandise. Some kind of dickish response. But like something that says, how about this? Disney could afford it, and that's my real problem. Like Sony's going to act the way Sony's going to act. Sony has never acted outside of character. I've never expected anything less or more from them. And
they're a weird company.
And I'm not surprised by it in the least. The fact they hired Tom Rothman after he left in disgrace from Fox says pretty much all you need to know. The fact that Avi Arad has an office there, all you need to know, really. But Sony's going to act the way Sony's going to act. Disney, you got enough money. And I know that, like, to a rich person, to a mega corporation, though that is like nails on a chalkboard.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. My shareholders need more. They expect more. The reality is, you just launched. You're about to launch the thing that's gonna kill Netflix.
Yeah.
You've destabilized the entire streaming market. You own Star Wars and practically buried it.
You own The Simpsons now.
You own The Simpsons, and you're going to do jack squat with it. How about you at the very least pony up the dough and fix this? Like, because you have the power to do it. Because you have the money to do it. And that's in this town, in that area, money is power, and influence and producer credits are like the icing on the cake. But the reality is, like, you have the money, you could fix it, and you won't.
Or we could just buy Sony wholesale.
And I mean, like, and I heard a couple of rumors about that. I remember making that suggestion of years ago. Sony would never sell in this climate.
No, especially not now, because again, egos are in it, and it's also a battle of East versus West now. Because again, people forget Sony is a Japanese company.
Yeah. Well, also, Sony has this real problem because Sony is Sony. Sony thinks that they can do it on their own.
Yeah, which I hate to say it, if you paid money to go see Venom in theaters, you helped with that sense.
If you go see the re-release for Far From Home, you are telling Sony you're going to see their movies.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to hurt another company. I don't want for companies to have to behave like this, and I don't want to pick sides in this thing. I just want Spider-Man in the MCU.
Is that so much to ask?
And I'm willing, you know, and I'll make my choices based on my preferences. I think that the Venom idea was kind of dumb. I didn't like that idea. I didn't go see it, and I encourage other people who agreed with me not to do that. But, like, you know, Sony has a place in this world. Sony's making that Ghostbusters movie. I'm gonna go see that. Like, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like after a significant failure, they finally figured out, oh, I need to get the right people on these projects, people who want to be working on these projects.
But what about The Matrix 4, Sal?
Now, The Matrix 4, it's weird that they announced that the only people who will be in it are the people who all died.
Yeah. Ain't that a hell of a thing?
Where's Morpheus? But, like, again, like, but, like, here's the thing. I like 1/3 of the Matrix movies. So, you know, but I vote with my wallet, and I make those decisions based on that. And, like, you know, it's fun to speculate, and it's fun to research and look at these things. But, like, you know, remember that they're fake and that they're bullshit and that like, they're silly and dumb and fun. And
it's all plastic, man. It's all toys.
The only problem is when they influence the things that, like, are evergreen and are forever, like comics. Like, I always got frustrated, like, when they made Spider-Man over organic webbing, and then they were like, oh, in the comics, we gotta do the same thing. And under the directive of nobody, under the impetus of nothing, like, under the misapprehension that people were gonna go all run to the comic book store and be confused by a machine web shooter. Like, I hate when movies influence the market of the comic book landscape, but, like, as long as that's just... As long as they're just making these movies, you know, see them or don't, but, like, don't freak out or get mad or punch someone or say, like, racial slurs in a Facebook group based on this. Like, you know, just, you know...
You saw those too, huh?
Yeah, we had to ban a couple people because of, like, their complete lack of tact and...
Yikes.
Just personal attacks on people, and it was like... I'm like, I got the report from my mod. He was like, hey, listen, we're going to have to, like... I had to get rid of this person. He was really, really, like, personally attacking people. I'm like, God damn it. Like, it's just a movie, man. Like, yeah, am I disappointed? Am I plumb sad about it? Like, yeah, you know, I am.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Right. And that's the thing, is that, like, you know, and can you hold these companies accountable by, like, not seeing their movies? That's one way of doing it. You know, it beats tweeting or getting mad or, you know, freaking out. You know, just don't go see it, or don't buy it, or, you know, or just say, like, hey, I'm not going to do that. You know, just being the ones they fear are the cogent ones who are just like, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore, bye. Or, like, just don't. You know, just don't do it anymore. Getting back into the super chats, Adam Asmo says, Sony took their ball off the court and went home. Where are you going to play? Where are you going to play on your court? No one likes your court because it looks like crap. Yeah, your court has divots in it, and there's no netting on the hoop.
It's got a funny smell.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin Myers can't think of much to say, but here's some money. Well, thank you, Kevin. You're very kind. I really appreciate it, man. Price 8040. If Spider-Man's rebooted again, I'm done forever. Here's the thing: if they reboot Spider-Man again, and it's outside the MCU, I'll never see another Spider-Man movie again.
what a massive boondoggle that would be. And it's like likely. It's like that's a potential future.
That's the thing is that like, and that's why it's so frustrating. It's why like I hate Sony as a company and why I have such a problem and such an ire for like these particular names. It's because like they don't care.
No,
like, they don't care. And it's like why I'm so frustrated by like people who do that across the board, whether it's like politics or movies or comics. It's where like it's like I have this thing and all I have to do is not drop it, but I don't care. Drop
like keep dropping.
But like and they drop it on purpose because it'll make them money right now. Like just right now. And that's the most frustrating thing about it.
No doubt.
Iceman, last one today. I think a deal will be made in a few months once people's heads cool off. Sorry about the miswording. Last message. Love you guys. Hey, love you too, man. No, don't worry about it. It's my bad. Kansas Productions. Do you think the deal can be made? I sure hope so. That's why I wanted to lump these two together because it's all about the deal.
Right.
I think that again, one of the reasons why I mentioned it and why we're talking about the whole like this is a negotiation tactic. It is.
Yeah.
Until they're making the movie. Morbius is inevitable.
Oh yeah.
They are shooting that movie.
That's very apocalyptic. Morbius is inevitable.
Yeah, Morbius is happening. So like, and so you know, as much as I think it's a horrible idea, and I hope no one goes to see it, I can't say anymore that they're never going to make a Morbius movie. I can say up until they're making the next Spider-Man movie, a deal can be struck.
Yeah.
Especially because Disney has been so guarded. The MCU has been so guarded from Spider-Man. They are aware. They did not make an announcement about Spider-Man at Comic-Con. They will not make any reference to Spider-Man at D23. Spider-Man won't even be like a costumed character on the park. Like they are not going to make a reference to Spider-Man because they won't want to admit or suggest that there are any negotiations going on. We're going to be in a place where negotiations can... The reality is when you're dealing with billions of dollars and millions of dollars and egos and names. By the way, you can buy a producer credit.
Oh, yeah.
There's a man named Michael Uslan. You have seen his name at the beginning of every single Batman movie ever.
Yep.
Why? Because DC was dumb and like lost the rights to the Batman character, just let the character like lapse in copyright, and he swept in and bought and put in some money, and now he has a producer credit forever.
For life.
And he probably has never been on most of the sets, but he gets to have his name there forever. Producers credits are a dime a dozen. You could fill the whole friggin' opening credits with them. Put Feige in them, and you're done. If that's all it takes. But deals can be struck, money can be made, producer credits can be given. All
people who are in power now might not be in power in a little while.
Someone could get Me Too'd or whatever, and or you know, Epstein'd, and then suddenly it's a whole new ball game. People were really unhappy about the whole Kelvin timeline thing with the Star Trek stuff, because CBS and Viacom are one company, and then the octogenarian guy in charge of the whole damn thing just decided to be funny to make them both two separate companies, and then Star Trek was effed. Now they're one company again, and I guarantee you that Kelvin thing is dead forever, and you're gonna get Star Trek again. Time heals all wounds. This kind of thing comes and goes. I'm hoping that the pressure from public reaction is such that both companies' heads prevail, cooled off, and come back to the table and give us what we want, which is both things.
Oh yeah, and here's another thing too. We never thought Spider-Man would be in the MCU to begin with, and remember how amazed and how happy we were when that Civil War trailer dropped. There's no telling, lightning couldn't strike and that couldn't happen again.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was told from birth until 2002 that I'll never see a Spider-Man movie at all.
Yep.
So I was wrong about that. Many people were wrong about that. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we were told we'll never see Spider-Man in an MCU movie. We were wrong.
Nobody knows nothing.
I mean, it could be that they go. It could be literally that Sony just goes into the boardroom and goes, "Okay, how are we gonna fix it? Okay, well, let's just make all the connections to the MCU we can with this movie franchise, and just see what we need to get rid of in order to make it work. Oh yeah, and of course we're gonna make that Sinister Six movie, Mysterio. Now what's his origin again? Oh shit! There's nothing we could do about that. And or this, fuck it, never mind.
Yeah, it's funny as I stop and think about that now. Yeah, all the new villains all had ties to the MCU, didn't they? Vulture, oh, my suit is made from scavenger Chitauri tech, and Mysterio, oh yeah, I worked for Stark Enterprises.
Literally, my entire team is characters from Tony Stark's movies.
Like, oh shit.
Now that being said, like I hope it's not desperation. I hope the desperation is just that like it goes, hey, listen, this is really stupid. Preston Bryant even said, no way, really? How can you be that incompetent with your most popular character? The incompetency of some of these companies is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not laughing, but I do appreciate that, like, it is stupid. Like, it's insane where we are and how, like, the best case scenario for everybody, and for me, the best case scenario is that Marvel owns Spider-Man wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never going to get that. At least not for a long time. Yep. And the fact remains, and if this thing has taught me anything, it's that there's a significant portion of people who want a Spider-Man over there.
Still can't wrap my brain around that one, but it's true. I've seen them.
Yeah, I don't get it. But also, like, in this particular situation, pre-blowout, you could have both.
Yeah.
You could have both, and that's fine. And there's room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in. Like, whatever you need to do to make it happen. But, like, I'm worried that, like, Disney is so stupid and so, like, has
prideful.
That, like, I mean, they won't even put Kingpin in these friggin' movies.
Even though everyone loves them.
The most obvious thing you could do. Like, you have a dearth of good villains, and then you created one literally overnight. Kingpin is perfect, and you could put him in all of those movies except for the space ones.
Yeah,
and you're good. And they don't do it. Like,
yeah,
it's unfathomable to me that they would like that they can't get that shit under wraps. But yeah, I don't know. But that being said, before we move on, I just want to jump into the other super chats that came in. Ali Al-Ziyadi says, what are your personal favorite Spider-Man movies?
Ooh.
I think it has to be Spider-Verse, Far From Home, and Homecoming.
Yeah,
they
that's
completely dropped the others. Like, all Sony movies have been completely dwarfed. Well, Sony movies, MCU list Spider-Man movies, have been dwarfed by those three movies for me.
I quite like the first two Raimi movies, but yeah, I would definitely say I would put those three above them, but yeah.
I appreciate they exist. They were essential to their time. Spider-Man 2 is leaps and bounds better than Spider-Man 1, and Spider-Man 1 is like a really, really sweet little, like, reimagining of a pure distilled, like, establishing 2000s type movie version of his origin. You gave us, like, we hit all the beats, you know. We got the burglar, we got the old aunt who's gonna die or keel over every second, but she's still strong in her heart, you know. Like, we got Uncle Ben, great power, Green Goblin, Harry, MJ,
got crazy
Flash.
Willem Dafoe being crazy Willem
we
Dafoe.
got all the beats of Spider-Man in those two movies. Those two work. That being said, I have never had more joy watching a Spider-Man movie than I have watching those three Spider-Man movies I mentioned.
Same.
But I will say, here's another little thing. I think my favorite Peter Parker on screen is Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse.
He's really, really good.
It's my favorite Peter Parker. Tom Holland's my favorite live-action Peter Parker. But Peter B. Parker, my favorite on-screen Peter Parker thus far.
He's really, there's a lot to really like about that character.
Great. Like, and
it gets better with every rewatch.
Like, I want him in the next one when they make another one.
Same.
So, but yeah, listen, there are a lot of you guys. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us and listening to us gab about Spider-Man for a while. I hope that this hopefully cleared up a few things, but also gave you some catharsis. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It hurts my heart to think about it, and because here's the thing, no control over it. We got no control over, no influence, and that's probably why people are so upset.
Yes.
It's this thing that's like, I feel this real deliberate personal connection to, this thing I've
Absolutely.
grown up with that I love and I've wanted forever, and then
It's like,
suddenly,
you know, Spider-Man. It's
Yeah,
like he's a friend.
It's like he's your brother, or you know him, like,
Uh-huh.
and then you find out that like people you don't know and you'll never meet have unfettered access to and control over it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So what do? You just scream and you type and you get mad at everybody.
You know what we are? We're all that meme of that guy when he sees a cat inside a locked store. I'm coming back for you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all that guy.
Yeah, you want to do something, but you know you can't in your heart, and that's frustrating. And so it's like all you got to do is just hope for the best, but enjoy the comics, read the comics, enjoy the movies you got, watch them, enjoy them, and love them. Yeah. Don't see the movies that they want you to see because they hurt the thing that you want. Like if you're that spiteful, but because I am, and but otherwise, you know, like I hope this was in some way cathartic for you.
Yeah.
By the way, Adam Asmo says this is like when you and your partner break up over petty things. You could get back together, but you've got to drop the prideful act. Exactly.
Been there, know that.
Yeah. Ali Al-Ziyadi says, my favorite Spider-Man adaptation is Spectacular. The Spectacular Spider-Man show, perfect.
Yes, it is. 26 great episodes.
Yep. That's why he should have been by, what's his name? The kid who played him?
Oh, Josh Keaton?
Josh Keaton should have been him and was him in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes Avengers crossover episodes.
Not friggin' Drake what's
Bell,
his face?
Who sucks.
Yeah, he does, and sucks even more recently if you saw him on social media.
Oh, I don't care about Disney kids. But,
oh, he's the goddamn worst. I liked the Amanda Show, but screw Drake.
Before my or ahead of my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, yes, they got to drop it. Who knows if they will? Hopefully they will. But if not, you know, Quantum Kakarato says, I guess we can say goodbye to Sony Spider-Verse TV show. No, I think they're gonna make that.
No, I think they're going to keep making those.
I think we're going to see that big time. Any Sony thing, we're going to see it ratcheted up to 11. But yeah, unless, I think, what's it called? Disney owns the TV rights? Who knows?
Yeah, I always wondered what the disconnect was with that, because I know we always complain. It's like, geez, you're involved with Disney. Why is this animation for TV so lackluster?
Yes, exactly. No, it's because Sony made the Spectacular show, but Disney made the Ultimate show and the Marvel Spider-Man show, both of which are horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Before you go, listen, if you stick around, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out everything else we do. We have a raw RPG show about superheroes you might enjoy. But more importantly, we've got shows like Back Issues, Off the Rack, weekly comic book breakdowns and discussions, and this show, Elseworlds Exchange, is every single Wednesday. Where we take one topic and hash it out for about an hour. It's like this, very collaborative, interactive. We like to hang out with you and talk to you and share your opinions and your thoughts. So hang out with us there. If you want to support the show and the channel, of course, the best way by doing that is watching the shows, subscribing to the channels, and maybe if you want to go a little extra, you can go to patreon.com/ComicPOP and help us out there as well. Stay tuned, hang out with us then, and of course, over on the purple version of the streaming stuff, I think it starts with a T, but YouTube gets mad when we talk about it. You can check out that.tv/ComicPOP.TV and watch a lovely and talented young lady play video games for a little while. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, welcome to Comic Pop. Thanks for hanging out with us. And hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And let us know in the comments after the show has already aired. What's your favorite Spider-Man movie? No drama. Just what's your favorite Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. And, of course, we will see you guys next time here on the Comic Pop. We don't call it that, but I just did. So, you know. Oh, also, if you want an extra show, patreon.com/ComicPOP. Joel and I stick around. We talk a little extra. It's only over there. It'll only be there. So check it out. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys then. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.